why I'm here.
So you can have the replay later. Hi, Sarah. Teaches Hatha Vinyasa Flow. Yes. And if you know who specifically you serve, because that is ultimately what we are here today for. So hi and welcome everybody. My name is Stella Adaflag, Stella Luna Yoga Studio and School. And I am super excited to, I'm here on this planet to serve yoga teachers to take their passions to profit. I have owned 3 yoga studios, community centers. I've done yoga teacher trainings at 200 and the 500 level. I've been in this business for over 20 years, graduated over 400 people from teacher training. I've had tens of thousands of clients in that time and been doing group classes as well as privates for all of these years. And I just want to say thank you for showing up today. If you're here today, it means that you are a high value operative person, that you have a mission and a dharma on this planet, and that you value your time and you understand how much time is worth, because time really is the most valuable thing in our lives. We don't get that back. So give yourself a high five, high five yourself for showing up and doing the work. Personal growth and personal growth and personal development, especially as a yoga teacher. You're here because you understand and know that being a yoga teacher is not a pastime. It's not a part-time job. And I'm so over that story of the broke yoga teacher. So that's why I'm here today. And I want you to really embody what you're here for. I want to make sure that you have come out of this with tangible things to do for your yoga students, for your yoga business, so that you can find your soulmate client in 3 easy steps. And those steps are knowing who the person is. It's being able to find them and then being able to keep them. So in the business world, we call this client acquisition and client retention. We also have an attrition rate, which is how many clients that we're actually losing. And we don't want to do that at all. So hopefully I can help you and add as much value for you that I possibly can. My biggest fear is that you're not going to get anything out of this and you're going to think that it's just like lame and boring and not come away with any actionable steps. So I'm here to be as authentic and vulnerable as I can and give you as much information as I can today. So I am honored that you're here and that your soul mission has brought you here today. So what I want to do first is take a couple of really big breaths and get into your body and get into a comfortable place so that you are able to receive this information. I always want to be the client that I want, right? I want to be the client that I want to get. And my client shows up 100%. My client is full in, they've got their notebook ready, their pen ready, their mindset open, and they're focused right now. And that's what we're going to embody.
Be able to embody why we all started teaching yoga. Like, why did we actually start teaching yoga was to make a difference. We wanted to make a difference in people's lives, right? And we wanted to make a difference for as many people as we can. And when I found out that yoga for everybody was yoga for nobody, I was pretty bummed, because I was actually really excited that I was an all levels teacher and that I could teach several different kinds of yoga. And I felt like a kind of pride in that. And when my bubble was burst and when I found out that yoga for everybody was really yoga for nobody, it took me a minute to be able to receive that information and to really digest and process that the way that I could help the most amount of people was to actually get as specific as I could about what my personal soul mission was on this planet. And hopefully today you get more clear about what your soul mission is so that you can match your soulmate client. Because the truth is that if you don't know who you're talking to, then you cannot find them and they can't find you. So outbound and inbound advertising and marketing and client acquisition, they can't find you if you don't know who you're talking to. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to yoga teachers. You understand my language. When I say that you need to focus, and I say use your dharana skills, you understand what I'm saying. And so it's really easy for me then to talk to you. And if you need to talk to that person so they can find you and you can find them, and then being able to keep your client, being able to keep the relationship up so that they're just not a one and done, right? So many of us have taught this, like we teach all these yoga classes for $30 for the hour, which is ridiculous and not sustainable. So the way that we get sustainable is by remembering our own personal soul mission, by not treating this like a part-time job, but treating this like a full-time job that it is, and then being so specific with who your soulmate client is that they come to you, and you to them, and that gets just so much easier. So how do you know what your soulmate client is? Take a moment and think about what problem you really want to solve. And if you're not sure, because there's many different problems, go ahead and list them down. Maybe you think about the past clients that you have had, and they've come to you, and they have had a list of problems, a list of aches and pains. We call these pain points. And we need to know what that is so that you can actually get them the result. So often you end up with all of these clients and you're teaching them yoga and they're stretching or they're relaxing and they are getting benefits, but what specific benefits are they getting? And if you want to share these in the chat, you could do that too. So that we can tune into not being average, right? I have a feeling that you're here today, like I'm here today, because I have no interest in really being a normal or an average yoga teacher. An average yoga teacher makes $45,000 in the United States. They are a broke yoga teacher. And not enough of us talk about the fact that we can actually make six figures and that we actually can take in $10,000 months over and over and over again, right? Teaching all over the place just doesn't grant us the kind of lifestyle that we really want and that we really deserve. So, understanding and knowing the exact pain point or problem that you are solving for your client. I want you to journal about this a little bit. Write it down. No, are you solving lower back pain issues? Are you solving stress? Are you solving focus issues? Who is your client? And you might come down to maybe 2 or 3 what are called avatars, right? And this is also their age, their socioeconomic level, their family style. I like to choose people that are, all in, that show up, that want to do the work. I don't personally want to hold people accountable, right? But I want to give you the information so that you can grow. So it's a very specific then into what my ideal client is, so that those clients then can just show up, and they do, and it does work. And I know this because I've done it for years and years and years, and you can do it too. But you have to have this actionable plan. And that's where so many yoga teachers, graduated from yoga teacher training, probably like yourself, and then didn't really know what to do, right? So we want to have this listed out. And by the end of today, you will be able to clearly say, hi, I am Stella, and I help people do this. This problem gets this result, from overwhelm to relaxed, from shoulder pain to not having shoulder pain, right? I help stressed out executive women learn functional movement for lower back pain. And I'm just throwing these, out there right now for you to be able to decipher. And you might have write out several of these, right? I teach soccer players that have hip issues, right? And it's sometimes this niching will feel like you are leaving people out, but you're not. If you decide to choose to say, I say that I like working with women, it's who I like to work with. It doesn't mean that men won't come to me. I like to work with busy moms because I understand that busy mom energy. It doesn't mean that people that aren't mothers or that aren't busy moms won't come to me. Does that make sense, right? So when I can tune into that, I can really get specific and talk to my client. And that's how we make a difference. That's how I go from yoga for everybody, this like blatant generalization, to being able to hone in and actually serve. Because what would it mean to you if you actually brought home $8,000 a month from yoga? What kind of freedom would it be to actually bring home $10,000 a month from yoga? And I want you to take a moment and actually feel into this, because this is your highest version of yourself. So take a breath, take a couple big inhales and exhales, and really begin to envision how you would be operating from your soul mission for your soulmate client from this point of view. Letting go of the old story of the struggling yoga teacher trying to find clients. And I invite you to journal about that and use this as a part of your practice if you're not used to envisioning yourself in as if you were already that. Because the truth is, again, if you are not on sales calls, if you're not connecting with people, then you don't really have a business. Let's talk about that a little bit, like demystifying this. Like, having a business is not working on a website. Having a business is not posting inspirational videos and stuff and quotes on Instagram or Facebook all day. It is when you're actually talking to people and making connection calls and making sales. I know that like dreaded, horrible sales word in yoga. But the truth is that if you don't sell like your life depends, you have to sell. You get to sell. We get to sell like our life's dependent on it, because they do. And if you want to, if your deep driving desire is to really help as many people as you can, then this is where we come from this high value operative mindset, from this higher vision of ourselves. And we will continue, and we do get to continue to create that by actually journaling it and writing it down. If you're not writing down your monthly goals, if you're not getting sales calls, then you don't really have a business. You have a part-time, like, fun thing on the side. Yes, and that's what we're here to put the ixnay on that. Yes, put the ixnay on that. So, getting clear about who my soulmate client is. is taking the problem and knowing your solution and being able to identify that. That's our first step, is identifying the problem that you are solving. So then you can talk to that person, and that's how they find you, and that's how you find them. So, the dreaded sales. Where do I find my clients? Client acquisition. Yes. So again, those misconceptions on building a large audience, you don't need to do that. You don't have to have all of your email funnels built out already. What you really need to do is be in the mindset of the CEO, not the employee, right? And that's our primitive brain that tells us this is hard. I don't want to go on Facebook today. I don't want to make a post. I don't know anything about funnels. I don't know anything about marketing, and that's not really why I'm here. That's your ego. So tune back into your soul mission while you're here. And then understand that all really you have to do is connect with people, and you will decide where your energy goes, because wherever your energy goes, right, that's where it's going to flow. So if you are using Instagram, Facebook, social media, which I do highly suggest because it's free marketing, right? It's literally free. What's most important about whatever you're doing is that you are consistent, because wherever you are, again, where your energy is going, that's where it's going to flow. So when you know who your client is, then you can actually talk to them, and you're consistent with that. You have created a fail-proof plan to get yourself from A to B, to get yourself from, I want to teach yoga to everybody, to I want to teach yoga to this person, and this is how I'm going to find them. There are many different ways to build out, and if you guys do have questions about that and you want to include it in the chat, I feel happy to answer questions about how to leverage on any program. I'm not I don't have a degree in marketing, but I have a degree in life and a lot of experience. And what I can say is that it's about consistently where you put your energy. There are different ways to position yourselves on different platforms. What's most important, again, is that you're consistent. And then eventually the plan is that you feel so inspired from your soul mission. You're so clear about who you're talking to that your ego just gets out of the way, and it's easier to do that for you consistently over and over and over again. But I want you to start with small actionable steps, like one thing that you could commit to today to doing. So maybe you're not ready to do a Facebook Live every single day, the 30-day Facebook Live challenge. But maybe you can commit to 3 days a week. Maybe you can commit to 1 day a week. Whatever it is, making sure that you can actually accomplish this and set yourself up for success, right? Setting yourself up for success is having this plan in action. So what are you going to do today is the question for you in your notes. What are you going to do today to commit to for yourself, for your own basic self, to be able to talk to that soulmate client? Then it will flesh itself out. And business, my friends, is trial and trial and trial, right? We try things, we test them just like we do in yoga. I try a pose, I'm like, oh, I like it. Oh, and then I'm like, oh, I need to adjust it like this, because I understand that I work very specifically in this way. And then I'm going to keep doing it. But even though the pose may elude me and I don't feel like I've got a good handle on it, we become an expert by repetition and doing it over and over again. That's why we get on our mat every day. And that's why you're going to show up as this high mindset operative, where you are showing up with your highest vision of yourself when you are the person that is making $10,000 a month over and over again. And I'm going to keep talking about money because I don't think yoga teachers talk about money enough. And we need to be really comfortable with it again, because you got to sell like our lives depend on it. And that's how you're going to find your client. So some of us love being on Instagram and Facebook and want to do Facebook Lives. And some of us want to have groups, special groups like the Profitable Yoga Teacher that I have, or the Busy Moms, because those are my avatars. Those are the clients that I serve. Maybe that doesn't sound like fun like you at all, and you want to do some advertising. You can absolutely do it that way too. That way you're going to set up a video. You're going to have a webinar where people can go and get to know you and meet you and like you, so that you can set up the phone call. Because to find your client and for your client to find you, they have to get to know you first, right? And that's the value add. They have to get to know you and get to like you. Then if they know you and they like you, it is then that they can trust you. And no one can trust you until they know you and then they like you. So how are you showing up for them? Right? Like, how are you showing up for them? You don't just teach a rad yoga class and then, well, you actually might, truth be told, you actually can do that. And I suggest that you teach in many different places, and that's how you gather people. But then you have a follow-up retention plan going to the third step. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, right? So people need to get to know you so they can like you, so they can trust you. Yeah, and I'm gonna take a second and look at the comments here and see where we're at. So, dun, 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 it says, I just turned it, please review what I'm saying regarding connecting to your ideal client. Yes, so today's whole class is about how to connect to my ideal client and how to find them, right? How to know who, identify, locate, find, and keep my soulmate. Yeah, so this is just a short overview of that. But the way that we're going to do this is, number one, my soulmate client, I have a problem that I solve for them. I help so-and-so do this, get from A to B. Getting crystal clear on that. Then we can talk to them. Then we can position ourselves to find those people, and they can find us. And then hopefully you have an offer in place. Your offer is all ready to go, and you get on a sales call. And we're not talking about sales calls today, because that's a whole another ball of wax, but hopefully they've already gotten to know you and to like you. So by the time they get on a sales call with you, there's some form of trust, and we can guide you into how to create that nourishing sequence, because these are all called sequences in this world, sequence to keep their attention, to hold their attention, and then to turn them into a lifelong client or a year-long client. So for me, I like to work with people long-term. I usually have clients for a couple of years. So I have about a 24-month lifespan on a client, and then I can do my revenue mapping backwards to know if I want to make this full, how many clients that I need to get at each price point to make those monthly goals. So that's where like this number comes in, all these numbers and how many people I'm actually talking to. And this is called prospecting. So finding my client is called prospecting. And the way that I'm going to prospect again is by being crystal clear on what my mission is, who I am, and who I'm serving, and how I'm helping. So that by the end of this, or at least today, you've got some hold on, I help so-and-so do this. So when someone says, what are you? You don't just say, I'm a yoga teacher anymore, right? You say, I'm this kind of yoga teacher for this person. That's my goal. That's my goal. So how do I find them? Oh my gosh, yes, the social media, having an email funnel as retention again, or so that they get to know you. Had to get to know you. So then when they get to know you and they like you and they trust you, they've signed the contract. They've signed the contract and they've decided to work with you. And I also recommend a tiered system for what your packages are, and packages and offers and pricing. That'll be another day. I'm going to do more of these. I really am excited to push myself to be doing this and sharing this information. So your packages and your pricing, your offering, that's all locked in. You've got the sale. Now, oh, I missed something. Before you've got the sale, you're prospecting and you have leads. You need to keep track of all of your leads. You need to keep track of all of your leads. You do not want a lead to slip through your fingers. So there are really easy ways. I use something called Pipedrive, which is super simple on my phone, that I keep a hold of my leads because I have a lot of them and I'll forget that I talked to so-and-so. But you can totally use an Excel spreadsheet. You can write down your diary. I don't care how you do it, but you really need to be doing that all of the time, because as many people as I can contact in a day, again, whether this is organic, and you can do this all organic, it can cost you nothing but your time, right? And or you go into some paid advertising. And there's different ways to do that, and that depends on you, and you will have to have that system built, that funnel built out differently according to which way you're going. What I say is choose one and go that way, but in the meantime, do not miss a lead. Everyone needs to know that you are so-and-so that does this for these kinds of people. Yeah, just don't miss a lead, my friends. Don't miss one. There are so many people out there. There are so many clients for all of us. So we are gonna, our third step. So now we know what our soul mission is. We're being able to at least somewhat identify our soulmate client. We've put ourselves in a high value operative mindset. Now we know how to find our clients because we're talking to them. And now once we've gotten them, how do we keep them? You need to have in place client retention or client nurturing. So this is all really your client's journey and what your client's journey looks like with you. So maybe I first meet somebody when I teach them a yoga class, or I meet somebody online. How do I follow up? I get to know them. I learn about them. When I owned a yoga studio, I would know, their kids' names and their dogs' names and what kind of sports they liked. And I kept intricate notes on all of my clients so that it wasn't just another Mary Jane coming in. Mary Jane, how is Bob? How's your dog? Or I knew that she was into whatever they were into, so that I created a personal relationship with all of my clients, so that as my businesses pivot and change and my offerings pivot and change, they come with me because they already know me, like me. It's super easy for them to trust me. And then I put out my next chakra energy healing guide and it's easy, right? And that's how I create sustainable profits over the years, right? It's because I nurture my clients, every single one of them. I have an entire funnel built out, which means that they get a series of emails if they would like to be on that. If I actually have somebody's physical address, and it's kind of old school, but if I do have physical addresses, I do send direct mail. Especially at a time like this, there is nothing better than receiving a postcard or just like a little thing in your mailbox from your yoga teacher, right? Or from anyone, right? So that's like something that's so easy. That's very, very low cost point for me. Does not take very much of my time at all, but really makes a difference for my clients so that they feel like, and they know that they are heard, that they are seen, and that they are very well taken care of by me. And then those packages are different for my different kinds of clients. So I have a low entry point, I have a high entry point, I have a very high entry point. And those packages then in gifts reflect that. Now, if you're not my client anymore, say we've finished our time together, you better best bet believe that you will still be hearing from me. And it's not going to be the same, but you're still going to do it. So whether that is every 10 days, whether that's every 20 days, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's quarterly, depending on how many times you need to touch that person. It's called a touch. It's called a touch. And don't you miss touching people in yoga class? I do. It's called a touch. So this is how I touch them. It could be a phone call. And one of my like super gems is the birthday, right? Calling and telling people for their birthday. And literally there's actually an app that you can have, but nevertheless, you could do like voice recording. And when your client gets a happy birthday from you, happy birthday to you, and I mean actually singing it, and that's the other thing too. When you're talking to clients, texting is really nice, but there's nothing as powerful as your voice. So on your Facebook Messenger, on your phone, on your whatever, your voice is so different, especially when we're prospecting and we want people to get to know you and like you so that they will trust you. So I suggest just hitting the voice thing and saying, hey Clara, I saw your Facebook post about shoulder pain, and it's super exciting. That's, you know, something that I'm into too. I've had a shoulder cuff problem, whatever that is, right? I really do actually leave people messages every day. How many? As many as I effing can. My coach says to do like 30 a day. 30 a day is overwhelming for me. I don't have that capacity yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I've given myself small actionable steps. I talk to new people every day. I just met someone in Sweden the other day. We're having some awesome conversation about, you know, her furniture. But I'm connecting with yoga teachers because I want to know what yoga teachers are doing. I want to know what you need. I want to know how to help you. I am on a freaking mission to save the yoga teacher and allow yoga teachers to go from and take our passions and make them profitable. So I do that. So you want to have this retention plan in place. That also could be like whatever your offering is. So you'll have maybe an extended offer, and that goes on. So maybe they don't get as much as they used to when they were in your program, but you still have them in your funnel. And then again, you can reuse and regenerate your information to do that. So that's client acquisition and client retention. Yay. It's a lot of information, you guys. It really is a lot of information. Value. So let me see. I'm checking my notes. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So I'm going to look and see if we have questions in here. Again, so that I am answering this. Yes. Okay. So let's making sure that we have our actions, because that is what I promised you. Yeah. So that you're able to write out, I help this person do this. That's number one. So no one's going to ask you anymore. No one's going to ask you anymore. Or so when someone asks you, what do you do? And you say, you're a yoga teacher. You're going to say, I am I teach yoga for people that want to lose 20 pounds. Being very specific. I teach overwhelmed moms stress relief yoga. That's number one. And then number two, committing to speaking to that client and adding value to their life. What does that client need from you? What do they need to hear? And maybe it is an inspirational quote. I do suggest that you become authentic when you are posting that inspirational quote. People want to get to know you. So you need to, that's where the whole add value comes from. You add value. How are you going to add value to this soulmate's life, this soulmate client's life? And what actionable step can you commit to doing for that client? So let's breathe into that. So it's a lot of information. And what I would love for you to do is embody and feel into what your soul purpose is, again, on this planet. Because we're not here to be normal. I'm not here to be average. It's not why I became a yoga teacher. I feel certain that's not why you became a yoga teacher. So write down what it would actually feel like to be the yoga teacher that makes $10,000 months, $100,000 years with ease. How would this change your life? How would this actually change your life? There are 4 ways that we contribute to the world, or that we contribute. There's 4 ways of contribution. 1, we contribute to ourselves and we're able to take care of ourselves. 2, we're able to take care of ourselves and someone else, like your family, like your husband or your children. Most yoga teachers get stuck right there, if they even get there. Most yoga teachers, spiritual healers, stay in this very average place where we're like semi-retired, and it's because we treat it like we're semi-retired and like it's a part-time job. So we never get to part 3, which is where you can contribute to yourself, to your family, and your community around you, right? Like your local community. Being able to actually give your time, because again, time is the most valuable thing. Thank you for being here. Your time, the most valuable thing, and or your money to an organization. And the 4th is actually what I think that we're all actually really here for. And that's that we wanted to actually make an impact in the whole world. Like I want to feed millions of children, not just my children and not just the children in my neighborhood, but I want to be able to feed millions of children. I want to save the children. And the only way that we can do that is if we actually take this seriously, understand who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and get up and do it and take these actionable steps. And it's not going to be overnight. You know, in 90 days, you should be able to get a client. Absolutely. In 90 days, you should absolutely be able to get a couple of high paying good clients that are going to stick with you. And then it's going to take you, you know, a year or 2 to really get to where you want to be. But you will be able to scale it if you do it, right? If you take these steps so that you can actually contribute on the 4th level. You can actually contribute into the world what your soul mission is, because I know that's why we all became yoga teachers. We all became yoga teachers because we wanted to help somebody, because yoga brought such peace of mind and unraveled our lives that we feel compelled to share it with everyone else. But yoga for everybody is yoga for nobody. So you can't just say that you're a yoga teacher anymore, because that's just not going to cut it. Over 80% of our yoga studios have closed. You have a responsibility to yourself and to yoga, if you feel the same way I do, yourself and to yoga, to show up. So that's what that second question is how are you actually going to show up? And not to get overwhelmed with it. Do not overwhelm yourself with this. Give yourself small, actionable steps so that you can find your soul ideal soulmate clients by identifying them. Then you can speak to them so you can find them. And then you've got a plan to be able to actually keep them in your life. Yes. So that is, that's what I have for you today, my friends. If you guys have questions and you want to talk about this more, you guys have any specific questions about that, let's talk it out. Let's chat it up.
Well, thanks, Stella. Thanks for all the information. It was